Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, November 22nd. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you are somebody that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about the tool of technical analysis and how it can be used to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. And then real quick, before I get to the stocks, just want to personally invite you to get signed up for this free online class that I'm offering in a couple weeks here. So if you're liking what you see as I go through the video and you want to learn more about this tool and how it can be used to build consistency as a trader, then definitely get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, then right there on the webpage itself, there's going to be an area that you can click on to get signed up. So just keep that in the back of your mind. If you're liking what you see and you want to learn how to take this, understanding to another level and start to build consistency with this tool, then definitely get signed up for the free class. A couple quick clarification points. I will be doing the 30-minute time frame. So for those of you that are beginners, each one of these candlesticks, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. And then second, the market is still going to be open for a little while. So I know your eyes are not deceiving you. That candle is still moving. And I like to do this because sometimes we can capture some really interesting price action live as it's continuing to play out. But the market's also close enough to closing that as far as, will these levels remain relevant moving forward? Absolutely. So with that being said, the first one here is ticker symbol GTEC. And what a crazy mover this one has been. The first, place to start is just look at all that volume that came in today. And you can even see right now, the last 30 minutes here, the price is still all over the place. But the level that every breakout player and their brother's uncle is going to be watching is right up here at, let's just call it the $11 mark. And that's not some sort of great discovery. And I make that comment because when people around the world are watching the same level, wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can definitely produce some very dynamic movement. So while nothing is guaranteed, it is more than valid, more than rational to think that if the price can get up to 11 and then break 11, that break right there could create quite a bit of upwards buying pressure. So definitely keep an eye on that as that main area of resistance. And then as far as support levels are concerned, the level here where the buyers kind of made themselves very apparent, right down there at $8.25. You can see several times throughout the course of the day, the price was down around that area, and every time it got down there, buyers showed up. So that'll be that main little support area to watch. But overall, I think the main dynamic and the most interesting dynamic that most people are going to care about is all about that $11 mark and whether or not the price can break up through it. So keep an eye on it next week. Next one, LGVN. Did this analysis in the previous video, and what a big move it had today. But now there's kind of a lot of trickiness that goes into it because, I don't know, is this a good or bad looking chart? Well, that depends on your strategy. If you're a day trader and you bought right there and you were trying to play the momentum in the upwards direction and you're still holding right now, yeah, this is not a good looking chart for you at all. Very clearly a big old pullback from those highs. Now, if you're sitting there saying, well, no, that wasn't my game plan, I care about more so the macro, the bigger picture of things, well, then from that point of view, everything is still perfectly fine. And the main reason for that is when you look and pay attention to the lows. And that's where the first update needs to come into play. And that's just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when resistances are broken, you want to see them act as support. So, look at it like this, and I'm not saying this will occur, but let's say the price actually comes down to that green line, behaves like that, and then ultimately starts to, work its way back upwards. From the big picture, so emphasis, from the big picture point of view, what would you still have? Well, you'd have a set of lows there, you'd have lows there, you'd have lows down here, you'd have a low right there. And if you envision each one of those as stair steps, what do you have? Well, from the big picture, you'd still very clearly have stair steps making progress in the upwards direction. So that's why I say that as of now, the overall trend is still fine. I get it, it can feel really bad given the price was up there and it pulled back quite a bit. But when you look at it from this point of view and see those stair steps are still in play, there is still an opportunity to build the trend. Again, I understand if you're a day trader and you bought right there, you don't care about those stair steps, but that's why I tried my best to try to differentiate between do you care about the big picture or more of a day trader standpoint. But overall, the big picture trend is still in place, so we'll see if the bulls can continue to build upon it or not next week. Next one, LCID, and wow, what a big move today. Now, granted, it did start late day on Thursday with the price started to bounce here, but it just continued for almost the entire course of the day. I suppose right here the price did technically go sideways for a little bit, but then it started to resume its move back upwards. So a very, very impressive recovery after what had been a relatively big pullback. And for those of you that watched yesterday's video, this is exactly why I talked about what it was, and I'm not going to recap everything, but basically I said, yeah, the chart looks bad, but to say that the party's over, to say that the chart is destroyed, that's just too premature. And now you're looking at the action here, and you can see, well, yeah, that would have been way too premature to say that the party was over because now the price is almost recovered all the way back up to where it was. And again, if you want to kind of learn more about why it wasn't a time to abandon ship, then you can just go back in the video archive and watch that previous video. But let's get some levels updated here. And the main dynamic now that, once again, I think a whole lot of people are going to be watching right up there around that $57 mark. So $57 main area of resistance. And then as far as the ideal level of support is concerned, keep an eye on that purple line there, the 50 period moving average. as the name implies, that line's going to move itself higher and higher. So point here being, as long as the price stays above that line, as the line itself moves higher and higher, then that would imply that this big old surge right now is at least continuing to drift in the upwards direction. Maybe not straight up, but as long as it's putting in those higher bases, that is by far what matters most. But all in all, very, very impressive day today. Next one, PROG, and good solid day today. And to set up a bit of context here, I put that line into play in one of the past top 10 videos, otherwise in terminology or technical terminology known as a resistance trend line. And you can see that today, the price is actually broken through the trend line. So from an overarching context, the chart is now in the middle of a technical breakout, right? It's broken through that technical level. So that brings about the next question of, okay, something has happened. Once more, that something being the technical breakout. So now it makes sense to ask the question, hey, is this the start of something bigger? Is this breakout going to lead to more momentum? So that's going to be the main question to watch moving forward. So I'll go ahead and get rid of that as it served its purpose. And the next key level that I think a lot of people will be watching is going to be that top part of that form of consolidation, right up there around $5, and let's call it 35 cents. So $5.35, next key area of resistance. Looking back there, you can see, the price struggled around that area to try to get up through it. So that doesn't mean that it can never get back above it again, but it makes logical sense to question, kind of, and potentially form some trade plans around that level right there. As far as areas of support are concerned, what I like now is this trend line here that has started to form. So let me change that to green to represent more of the bullish attribute. But you go back through the history of things now, and you can see, just looking at these points, it's been doing a good job now of forecasting where the buyers have shown up. So if there is some sort of bigger pullback, then keep an eye on that trend line right there. But again, I think the most interesting dynamic here moving forward is all about that level. Can it get back up to it? And then if so, can the price break above it? But overall, nice way to close out the week. Next one here, AMC. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this just because not a whole lot has changed other than kind of confirmation of what I talked about in previous videos. And to recap that real quick, previous video I talked about that pink line there being a key level of support, and that pink line on my chart representing the 200 period moving average. And I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. Look at the price. So if you're more visual, if you want to picture this as like a wave and then the price is a surfer, look how the price just surfing on that quote-unquote wave. So overall, though, I already talked about that, so that's not a new area to talk about other than confirmation that, yeah, so far so good. The price is holding above that 200 period moving average as support. And then on the flip side of things, nothing has changed in regards to that level of resistance at 41.50. I guess the price kind of got close to it right there, but ultimately did, pull back to the downside. So like I said, nothing has changed from that regard either. But overall, 200 period moving average remains that main area of support. 41.50 remains that current main level of resistance. So we'll see how this plays out early next week. Next one, PLLG, and a very, very impressive day. Very nice recovery, a lot like LCID. I mean, yesterday, actually the past couple of days, things were not looking so good, but then just like that, kaboom, snapped right back upward. Still has work to do, and I realize me just saying work to do are just words, but that's why I love charts, right? They allow you to take words and then make them very visual and assign, quantities to them. So when I say quote unquote work to do, what I mean is that the price is still having to deal with this area right up here, give or take around $45. Now I say give or take because it's not an exact level right there. You can see the price didn't quite hit it. That area, the price actually got up above it. But today, the price once again slightly got above it. But this general area around 45 has proven to be a very stubborn area where whenever the price gets up around there, the momentum seems to just disappear. So that'll definitely be the main question moving in the next week is, all right, once again, the price knocking on the door 45. Is the momentum going to disappear, or is going to be enough momentum to sustain itself and then eventually push up through that level? So 45 certainly going to be that main breakout point to watch closely. And then from the support side of things, I'll be very quick about it. You know what that is, the 50 period moving average. And as that line moves forward, as long as the price stays above that area, then that's going to represent that this big old surge today that happened is remaining plenty bullish. But yeah, all eyes on 45 next week. Next one, AUR, and what a just beautiful pattern right here and good solid volume. I'm surprised not more people are talking about it out there, but I guess it is what it is. Sometimes that's just how things play out. But, when people do stumble across it, the pattern that I'm about to draw out, I assure you, is not a special talent. People that use charts, understand charts, are going to be able to draw this pattern. And I bring all that up once again because whatever you want to call it, self-fulfilling prophecy or not, when there are very well-defined patterns and a lot of people watching them, wondering the same things, it can produce some very nice moves. So the level here, and the part of the pattern that stands out to me is that resistance trend line right there. And who knows, maybe the price ultimately wakes up, and by the time you're watching this, that breakout has happened. So if you're watching this and you're saying, well, Clay, actually the price broke up above, let's call it 1675. Well, then at that point, you would say a trend line break has already happened, which transitions the chart at that point to, wow, something has happened, the breakout. Now, is this the start of something much bigger to the upside? But as of right now, like I said, the price is still hovering below that level, but that doesn't take away from the fact of that the trend line there is going to be the level that a whole lot of people are watching. And then support-wise, you have a very well-defined area where the buyer stepped in several times down there around 14.25. Then to make this pattern just probably the easiest, see, let's make it all one color. So we have resistance there. We have support there. We have the big momentum move right there. And then let's just put a golf hole down there for those that are maybe more visual. And this would be known as a bull pennant pattern. So bull pennant pattern, and look at this, the price, that candle is getting green. So I would not be shocked at all if by the time, this gets uploaded, that potentially the price is up above 16.75. I'd like to sit here and watch and see what happens, but it may not happen either. So I don't want to waste a bunch of time for something that doesn't happen. But as of right now, as you watch that candle form, maybe the breakout's going to come, but overall, by the time you're watching this, you're going to already have the answer to that. So yeah, just take a note of it. Next one here, SNDL, and not a whole lot to be said on this one other than the fact of the price is officially at a very, very important level, and it's that pink line, which, as you now know, is the 200 period moving average. And that's just one of those areas where even if you have a basic understanding, I'm sure you've said, well, yeah, you know that when the price is above that area, that's a level that you don't want to see the price breaking down below. And to give credit where credit's due, and again, just illustrates the power of charts. The price has been dropping, and then it just starts to go sideways. Oh, look, right there at that pink line. So that's a good little example here on the power of charts. But it also goes that, okay, you can't quite abandon ship yet because the price is still technically holding above that level. However, if next week it just continues to drop and drop and drop more, well, the further down below that pink line the price gets, that's just the more symbolism and the more evidence that, yeah, the party's over for the bulls and the bears are back in full control. So are the bears gaining control? Absolutely. Am I willing to say that the bears are in full control? I'm not willing to say that because, again, the price is still maintaining above that 200 period moving average, but it's, walking right on the edge there. So can the price continue to maintain it next week? Can can the bulls at least start to regain some control? We'll see what happens. Next one here, GME. Been a long time since done this one and really had any sort of good reason, but who knows? Maybe, just maybe, is this the start of another crazy GME move? Because big, solid movement today, formed a nice pattern. So let's keep an eye on it, and we'll see what happens with it next week. So let me get that trend line in there and mainly call it, right around, let's say 228 to 229 can be that main breakout point of that resistance part of the pattern. And then as far as the support pullback point, right down there around 222.50. So once more, let me change that to green to represent more of the bullish attribute of it. And then just to keep everything one color, resistance, support, momentum move, golf hole down there. You get the idea. We have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. And, what's kind of adds in a little spiciness to this bull pennant pattern is that it is on GME. So one of these stocks where the history of GME at this point. So does that guarantee anything? Of course not. No guarantees. But does it make it valid? Does it make it plausible to be thinking, maybe just maybe there's a bigger move coming? Yeah, absolutely. And once more, the price sitting right near that trend line. So maybe by the close, it actually gets up through there. But again, by the time you're watching this, you're going to already have that answer. But overall, GME, is this the start of something bigger? Let's see what happens. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and this will mean more to those people that watch past videos, but if you haven't, just a quick recap. I've been talking about that red line there over and over and over again as an area of resistance at 1105, but you can see that today the price was finally able to not only get above it and not only maintain above it, but also separate to the upside, which previous times, sure, got above it, failed, got above it, failed, got above it, failed. But today that has changed. So 1105 has officially been broken. So in other words, Tesla is now in the middle of a new technical breakout, and it just becomes a question of, well, how much momentum is this technical breakout going to cause? Which brings about, let me squeeze things down here a little bit more so we can see where some next potential battleground areas are, with the next key area of resistance now being right up there around 1160. So 1160, and it is Tesla, so I better throw in one more just in case something goes bonkers. But 1160 and then 1193, going to call the next two main areas of resistance. But like I said, the main dynamic here is that breakout has occurred, and now it's just, all right, let's see how much more momentum can be built upon this. And the best way to measure all this is that purple line there, again, 50 period moving average. So as long as the price stays above there, as that line draws itself higher and higher, then that is a good sign as far as whether or not the momentum remains bullish or not. But overall, finally got the breakout of 1105. So let's see if this can now generate just that much more upside momentum next week. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool and how can we use the build consistency, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Like I said, it'll be on Thursday, December 2nd, so a little while from now. at 7 p.m. Eastern time, so definitely get signed up for it. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, if you would like for me to continue to make these videos, then please help me out with some feedback, and the feedback is very easy. Hit the like button, leave a basic comment, even if it's just saying hi, a ticker symbol that you traded today, a smiley face, but those two things, hitting the like button, leaving a comment down below, communicate to me that you enjoy these videos, and as long as I know people are enjoying, then I have no problem at all continuing to make them. So definitely get signed up for the class if you want to learn more about this tool and how to build consistency. Hope everybody had a great week. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you back next week.